I think I have something figured out. Or at least I have an idea. I've got an idea that I can run by you on something that just is pretty illogical to most sensible people, because most sensible people are sitting back in amazement as college football programs burn through hundreds of millions of dollars in dead money, throwaway money for coaches' long-term contracts. The number so far, and that's so far, we're not even to November. The number so far is around $170 million in buyouts. And reports are that it could reach $250 million in buyouts by the end of the regular season. And by any math, it's shockingly dumb as well as shockingly embarrassing for the people that hire the guys to only throw away the money to make them go away. Right? I mean, surely you get fired if you keep screwing up like this. But I'm going to add, and I may be alone in this, but I'm going to add that I think it's shockingly unethical given these college athletic departments. And I know most people don't view them as part of the school, which I think is kind of embarrassing and sort of pathetic. But it's embarrassing and I think unethical, given that college athletic departments are supposed to be a part of the university campus. And I don't know how university presidents, who are supposed to work with students and faculty, can accept this as a way of doing business. That is amazing. Anybody attached to a university, as they burn through this money, it's hard to believe you can accept that. But I also know at the same time, as I've told you many, many times, when rich guys who want to control the program, who want to own that team, when they get a hold of it, they don't let go. They want more and more and more because ego is so tied to success when it's their money. But the message this sends to a college campus is that Football Inc. is not part of the campus, and the administrators, coaches, and players answer to no one, unlike the rest of you on a college campus. And I think it's really pathetic. And at some point, I would like to believe that there's some ethical standard that comes into play. Maybe that's wishful thinking. So far, it's certainly wishful thinking because this thing it's completely out of control. Whether or not there's any sign of it stopping, obviously not. But I think I've kind of figured this out. The psychology of it, at least. So meet the guy that's really become the poster child of stupid investments. The LSU athletic director is a guy by the name of Scott Woodward. This rocket scientist is the guy behind bringing Jimbo Fisher to Texas A&M. Then he leaves, this Woodward guy leaves to go to LSU to hire Brian Kelly. How does this fool have a job? He hired two football coaches that have cost more than $132 million to go away. It's just setting the money on fire. He's 2 for 2 in paying $132 million. I'm being generous because that doesn't count all the assistant coaches and all that stuff. But, simple math is $132 million paid this genius to two people not to coach. I don't know how that fool has a job today, right? I mean, you can run the football coach off, but I don't know how it is that the person that did the hiring to the tune of $132 million wasted still is employed. I'm pretty sure when most of you, and I don't think you get the chance to lose 132, but most of you who blow $132 million, not only are you not retained, you can't find another job because you suck at hiring. The verdict is in. You're really bad at hiring. All right. Now, that said, I think I've discovered the main reason. Is it the only reason? I don't know. I don't know what's behind this. I've been trying to figure this out. And I think I've figured out something. And I figured this out by coming up with an interesting comparison. So this idiotic practice of throwing away money, I think I'm onto something here. I think I've discovered the reason for this, or the psychology behind it. And I found a like-minded problem, like-minded way of doing business in some cases. I'm not excusing any of it, but I think I figured out the triggering mechanism behind all of this, so give it a chance. Jimbo Fisher's buyout, sorry Aggies, was supposed to be the lesson learned for everyone. Like, oh my gosh, this is so outrageous. None of this stuff will ever happen again. You got to rein it in. You got to rethink things, etc. It was supposed to be the lesson learned. Obviously, it's not. Paying a football coach $76 million to go away was so over the top, we thought we would never see it again. Fast forward to today, and we see it almost weekly now. Not quite 76, but it's adding up to the same kind of thing. The latest being Brian Kelly to leave LSU. He gets whacked after the Aggies boat raced them, and it's a reported $54 million buyout. He lost to teams ranked 3, 7, and 9 and got fired. I think this is a good rant. I think this sets it up pretty well. I think it's what a lot of people think. It's got good information, but I think I can fill in the blanks on why, or at least the psychology of why this is happening. And believe it or not, I think there might be an NFL comparison. This is Joel Klatt, who was the analyst for Fox College Football.
They're going to spend $250 million on coaches to not coach. We are up to $167.9 million in total buyout money committed to fired FBS coaches in this cycle, and it's not even November. We haven't even gotten a final decision on Mike Norvell at Florida State. We haven't gotten a final, obviously on Hugh Freeze at Auburn. That's not going well, and there are going to be others. This is wild. We are going to be north of 200, probably close to $250 million in buyout money, dead money. That is a staggering amount. When you're talking about all of these programs around the country, and every single one of them, the athletic director will come up to me and I'll ask them, like, well, what is your biggest need? Oh, resources. We need money so bad. And they're going to spend $250 million on coaches to not coach. That is a staggering amount. Why? Why do we get this? Well, they're the most valuable piece. This is the college version of the NFL starting quarterback. Got to have that quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Well, you can't win in college football without a marquee coach. You just can't.
I like that. I think it starts to go where I'm about to go with this. The psychology of it, the desperation. Really what we're talking about is desperation. Bad managers are desperate, right? You've worked for bad managers. That's what we're talking about. People just don't manage very well. They don't get it. They're not good at creating incentives. Their model is not any good, and so they just keep churning through money. There's people, one of my favorite business books, because that's the thing that interests me most, is called Effed Companies. It's a fabulous book. It's a fabulous storyline of a guy who kept writing about tech companies that kept screwing everything up and going under. And that's what this is. You just burn through the money because you are governed and you are ruled by desperation. And I think Joel Klatt is onto something. It's the same desperation that creates stupid owners blowing through stupid money when it comes to quarterbacks. I do think, the NFL is far smarter and far better in every single way than college football. It knows exactly what it's doing, but the one area where you see the same dumb franchises do the same dumb things is because the owner is desperate because he's thinking and talking himself into thinking, well, I think I have the next Josh Allen, but I can't let him go because if I don't have him, I'm going to end up like the Cleveland Browns, and it's going to be a turnstile. So let me explain this. And I think he's right. I think other coaches are going to get fired. Jay Norvell at Florida State, Luke Fickell at Wisconsin, Hugh Freeze he mentioned, and I'll add Brent Venables to the list. I know it's a big buyout there, and Oklahoma is one of those programs that's been complaining about money. But they might have 3 or 4 losses in them the rest of the season. There may be 3 to 4 more coming their way. An average Texas team worked them over. And so I think there may be more to come for them. I don't know that he's safe. And I don't know if there's a psychology to the domino effect of this or not. That one I can't figure out. But the issue, or one of the issues, isn't necessarily the yearly salaries of these coaches. A guy making $9, $10, and I think we're about to see a $15 million a year coach. I don't know if it's going to be Lane Kiffin. Somebody next up is probably going to see a total compensation package of $150 million. Florida and LSU and Penn State will create a bidding war in a marketplace that's probably going to end up around $150 million. Remember when we last left USC? Stupid move on their part. They were at $110 million on Lincoln Riley. LSU was at 95. But the issue is not, to me at least, the issue is not, and I've argued this before and used the NFL as an example. The issue is not that guys are making 9, 10, 12 million bucks a year. I mean, the value is what somebody's willing to pay. The dumb thing, the shockingly dumb thing is long-term contracts. That's, I mean, we can argue about the money. But what is idiotic is extending these contracts to make them long-term. That doesn't add up. That's a mistake. It's not the salary. It's not the bonuses. It's the length, the extension to make these things long-term. You have these athletic directors, and then they extend coaches for mediocre seasons, right? It doesn't seem like it adds up. I mean, why? They did it with Jimbo Fisher at A&M. Anywhere you look, it happens. And the argument used to be, well, and this is one of the arguments that people post online and stuff like that. The argument used to be, well, you have to show recruits that the head coach that recruited them will be around 3 to 4 years. That doesn't really hold water anymore. I think it's a silly argument anyway. But that doesn't hold water because the players can and do bounce from place to place every single year. They go where the money is and they go where they can play. The head coach seems pretty secondary. Another issue is the agents play a game athletic directors are obviously not equipped to play. Agents for high-profile clients play the leverage game all day, every day. It's their world. That's what agents do. They create value. That's their job. And they live for it. Athletic directors are basically bureaucrats who spend most of their time ass-kissing rich donors. They don't spend a whole lot of time, haven't spent a whole lot of time in the real-world deal-making. So it's a foreign concept to them. They are completely out of their league. It's a mismatch. But even that part, I would argue, doesn't explain why program after program makes long-term contracts. There's nothing in terms of the incompetence of college football. I think most of college football is incredibly incompetent. It's bloated. I think the rules are awful. It has no ability to pivot and correct itself. College football, if it didn't have a bunch of rich guys giving it money, it'd be like Sears. I use Sears as the example. Don't ever be Sears. Don't sit there and think they're ultimately just going to show up at my business and it's all going to work itself out. They don't adapt at all. But money keeps pouring in. But I don't think those are the issues. The NFL doesn't operate in long-term contracts. It just doesn't do it. Andy Reid has the longest deal in the NFL last time I checked, and that's 5 years after. Think about this, after the Chiefs won their last Super Bowl. So these coaches circling in this marketplace of college football. I mean, think about this. Andy Reid got a 5-year deal a couple of years ago. That's it. Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, their resumes don't even come close to that. They have 0 trophies to show for their work, and they get contracts twice as large as one of the 3 to 5 greatest, maybe 3, I guess I should say, greatest coaches of all time. So why? Why? Fear and desperation, or desperation and fear. Desperation and fear makes you stupid. but I'd say mostly desperation. College coaches' contracts follow, and I think Joel Klatt started to go into this, but think about this, because you see it a lot with stupid NFL franchises. Stupid owners keep doing stupid things. College coaches' contracts follow the same path of boom and bust like NFL quarterback contracts. Okay? Owners typically in the NFL don't blow money. They know what they're doing. They run the business well. The game is run well. They don't throw away their money. They don't throw giant contracts at coaches. They don't do that. There's no area where they blow money except on quarterbacks. They do it when it comes to quarterback contracts. Follow this psychology. Okay? Because very few of them work out, not the way owners want, because they're working from a place of desperation. The ones that do work out scare the owners into overpaying, hoping I'll have that guy. And even then, I don't think it's as ridiculous as college coaches' contracts, but it's the same kind of thing. You say Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa, Deshaun Watson. Guys that do pretty well, but their owners freak out that I may lose it, and I may lose him. And I think he might be the next Josh Allen. He might be the next Lamar Jackson. My coach might be the next Urban Meyer or the Kirby Smart. And so they talk themselves into overpaying for guys that are pretty mediocre out of desperation, because I have to have that guy. Like I said, I'm not excusing. I think these long-term contracts are fundamentally idiotic. You are fools. But I think that's part of what's going on here. Okay? And so, owners are desperate to find the next Jalen Hurts, the next Patrick Mahomes, the next Dak Prescott, right? I mean, that they look at it and say, my franchise is only that guy away from being successful. If I just have that guy, if Trevor Lawrence just becomes that guy, I'm set for the next 5 years. And so they throw bigger money at him. I think it's the same desperate panic that drives college coaches' salaries and creates dumb money. NFL owners think if I get the right quarterback, the next Josh Allen, I am set for 10 years. And so when a Trevor Lawrence or a Tua comes along and has a good but not great year, the agent says, you let him walk out the door and you've missed on the next Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. And they're thinking, I could be the Cleveland Browns looking for the next quarterback for the next 15, 20 years. I could be the Chicago Bears for the next 15 years because I don't have that guy. So, I'm going to talk myself. I think they talk themselves into thinking these guys matter more than they really do. So they're so afraid of being the Cleveland Browns. Missing on a quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. They get over their skis on a guy that's pretty good and they're locked in for the next several years. I'm not excusing the swing and miss with investments on NFL quarterbacks. We all see it all the time. But it's the same kind of dumb reaction, the same kind of over your skis money thrown at college coaches. I think it's the same kind of freaked out mentality that's driving these athletic directors. Right? For example, just take a look at some of these college programs. USC has failed. They're at best mediocre over and over and over again. Against the backdrop of being a legendary college program, that's just unacceptable. So Lincoln Riley comes available, churning out 11-win seasons, churning out Heisman Trophy winners, and his agent convinces USC that with your resources, you're going to have the next Kirby Smart. You're going to have the next Jim Harbaugh. He's just that close. Right? Same argument that would apply to Trevor Lawrence. This guy's that close to giving you the next Jim Harbaugh. LSU does the same thing with Brian Kelly. He wins pretty big at Notre Dame. He gets him to the brink. It's really good. Then the agent convinces them, imagine if he's there and you give him this, this, and this. Imagine what happens. You got the next Jim Harbaugh there. It's just like the agent for Trevor Lawrence or Kyler Murray or Tua is saying, that's the next Lamar Jackson there. He's that close. And they're desperate because they think, I don't want to be the Browns. I don't want to be the Bears. I'm USC and I don't want to be mediocre anymore. And they get over their skis. Right? It's just like an owner convinces himself that he can't live without Kyler Murray because if he lets Kyler Murray walk and he turns out to be good, I'm the Browns for the next 8 years. If I let Brian Kelly walk when his agent calls me and threatens me, or I let Steve Sarkisian walk when his agent calls and tells me, he's got a bunch of offers. Who knows? And I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to be Josh Allen. They go over their skis. Now, I give NFL owners far more of a pass than I do college programs. But does that make sense? Do you agree with what seems to be driving them? The same kind of mentality that drives owners, and that is panic and desperation, I think drives these college programs. And I think they get free money. They think it's free money. So they panic and they convince themselves they've got Jim Harbaugh. They convince themselves they got the next Urban Meyer. And they convince themselves because they think if I let that 8-9 win coach leave, oh my God, I could be Rice. And the rich guys won't let me do that. So they get completely over their skis. They give a long-term deal. I have no idea. I mean, I think it's stupid. I think it's just a joke. It's a long-term coaching deal that's the version of Kyler Murray or Tua Tagovailoa. Same kind of thing. Same kind of psychology. All right, feel free to disagree. Hey, here's a recommendation backed up by my own experience, a great experience. And that is, I've been a client of DJC Law, and I can tell you this. You're going to get 3 things with DJC Law. You'll notice it right away. The difference is you will get peace of mind. They will take care of every single detail perfectly, and you will get the result you deserve. If you're injured by the negligence of someone else, fighting with an insurance company for any reason, trust me when I tell you, you will need DJC Law. Dan Christensen and his team of attorneys have a remarkable track record. I've known Dan a long time. He's a military vet. He's board certified in civil trial law, and I've been a client. So you can trust them. You will get the result you deserve. Check out teamjustice.com. And you'll see thousands of 5-star reviews. The bottom line is, if you're in an accident, you need DJC Law. Contact them right away. 512-888-9999.